Christmas morning should feel warm and safe. For Mrs. Patterson, it felt cold and wrong. At 68, she knew her body, she knew her mind, and she knew when love turned into quiet calculation. When her daughter handed her a cup of chamomile tea and called it special, something inside her went still. That single sip would change everything. Not with shouting, not with anger, but with patience, memory, and a calm resolve shaped by a lifetime of being underestimated. This is the story of how a grandmother protected her dignity, and how silence became her strongest defense. Before we begin, please take a moment to leave a comment telling us what everyday sound always gives you a fright and subscribe to the Voices of Our Mothers channel. We're building a community focused on finding strength when you least expect it. Now, back to the chilling truth lurking next door. Now let's get back to the story. Mrs. Patterson woke before the sun that Christmas morning, the way she often did now. Age had changed many things, but it had not dulled her habits. She lay still for a moment, listening to the house breathe. The soft hum of the heater, the distant clink of a spoon in the kitchen. Someone was already awake. That alone felt unusual. Christmas had always followed a pattern. Karen and Richard arrived late, loud greetings, wrapping paper everywhere, too much sugar, too much noise. This year felt quieter, careful, like a room where people chose their words before speaking. Mrs. Patterson sat up slowly and placed her feet on the cold floor. Her knees protested, as they always did, but her mind felt clear. Clear enough to notice the tight feeling in her chest that had nothing to do with her health. She dressed in her usual cardigan and slacks, smoothing the fabric like she always did. Appear steady, appear normal. She had learned long ago that people watched more closely when they thought you were slipping. When she stepped into the living room, Karen was already there, perched on the edge of the couch. She stood up too quickly. "Mom, you're up early," Karen said, smiling wide, too wide. Richard followed from the kitchen carrying a tray, coffee cups, a teapot. His smile came slower, like it needed permission. "Merry Christmas, Mom," he said. Mrs. Patterson returned the smile. She had practiced that one for years, polite, warm. "Neutral. Merry Christmas," she said, her voice even. Karen moved close, touching her arm as if guiding her through a busy street. "Sit here, let me get you comfortable." Comfortable, the word landed oddly. Mrs. Patterson noticed how Karen stayed near her, how her eyes kept drifting back, not to the tree or the gifts, but to her face, watching, waiting. She sat down and accepted a blanket she had not asked for. Karen tucked it around her shoulders, fussing with the edges. "You're cold," Karen said. "I'm fine," Mrs. Patterson replied. Karen laughed softly. "You always say that." Mrs. Patterson thought about all the times she had been fine, raising Karen alone after her husband died, working late nights as an accountant, balancing numbers that never lied even when people did. She knew what fine felt like. Richard poured coffee for himself, then hesitated. "Karen made you something special this morning." Karen turned toward the kitchen. "Oh, yes, the tea." Mrs. Patterson watched her daughter reach for the teapot. Chamomile by the smell, light, sweet, familiar. Karen poured carefully, her hand steady, her eyes focused. "This is good for you," Karen said, setting the cup down in front of her mother. "Helps you relax, clears the mind, clears the mind." Mrs. Patterson wrapped her fingers around the warm porcelain. She looked up and met Karen's gaze. The smile was still there, but something hard sat behind it, something measuring. She thought of the paperwork from last spring, the forms Karen had brought over. The words "durable power of attorney" printed neatly at the top. Karen had said it was just in case, just to help. Mrs. Patterson had signed, annoyed by how small the print was, how rushed the moment felt. She had told herself it was practical. She had always been practical. Now, holding the cup, she felt that same tightness again. "Drink it while it's warm," Karen said. Mrs. Patterson lifted the cup but did not sip. She breathed in the steam. Chamomile, yes, something else too, bitter, faint, but present. Her stomach turned just slightly. She glanced at Richard. He was watching Karen, not her, waiting for a cue. Mrs. Patterson set the cup back down. "In a moment," she said. "Let me wake up first." Karen's smile twitched. "Of course." They opened a few gifts. Karen handed them over one by one, watching her mother's hands as she unwrapped. Watching her reaction, Mrs. Patterson kept her movements steady, her comments light. "This is nice." "Oh, that's lovely." Her mind, though, was working fast. She noticed Karen had not touched her own coffee. Richard had finished his. He looked tired, rubbing his temples. Mrs. Patterson picked up the tea again. Her hand did not shake. She held it up, examining the pale gold color. "You know," she said lightly, "Richard always says chamomile helps him sleep." Karen laughed too quickly. "Does he?" Mrs. Patterson turned to her son-in-law. "Would you like some?" Richard blinked. "Oh, sure, if there's extra." Karen opened her mouth, then closed it. "I can pour you another cup," she said. "No need," Mrs. Patterson said, already standing. "Mine's untouched." She walked to the side table where Richard's empty mug sat. Slowly, casually, she switched them, tea for coffee, coffee for tea. Her back was to them. No one objected. She returned and placed the cup in front of Richard. "There you go," she said. "Special tea." Richard smiled and lifted it without a thought. Karen froze just for a second. It was enough. Mrs. Patterson sat back down, folding her hands in her lap. Her heart beat louder now, but her face stayed calm. She watched as Richard took the first sip, then the second. Karen's eyes never left him. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. Mrs. Patterson did not reach for her own cup again. She simply waited, listening, counting the seconds, knowing that whatever was in that tea would soon tell her exactly how right she had been. Richard took another sip without hesitation. He leaned back in his chair, one hand resting on his stomach, the other still holding the cup. For a moment, nothing happened. The room stayed quiet except for the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. Mrs. Patterson watched his face. She had spent decades reading people. Clients who tried to hide missing numbers. Colleagues who smiled while shifting blame. Family members who said one thing and meant another. She knew the signs before they fully showed themselves. Richard blinked, once, then again. "You okay?" Karen asked, her voice too quick, too sharp. "I'm fine," he said, though his tone had already changed. Slower, thicker. He set the cup down like it suddenly weighed more than it should. His shoulders sagged, and he rolled his neck as if trying to shake off a stiffness that had crept in without warning. Mrs. Patterson felt her breath slow. Her body stayed calm, but inside a quiet line had been crossed. Richard rubbed his eyes. "That tea's strong," he said, forcing a small laugh. "Guess I needed more coffee." Karen did not laugh. She stood now, hovering close to him, her hands clenched at her sides. "Richard," she said softly, "sit up." He tried. His body responded a second too late, like it needed extra time to understand the request. His hand slipped off the arm of the chair, fingers grazing the floor before he pulled them back. Mrs. Patterson leaned forward slightly, not in alarm, in attention. Richard's face had gone pale. A thin sheen of sweat formed at his hairline. He swallowed hard. "I feel dizzy," he said. Karen's eyes flicked toward her mother just for a moment. The look was not concern. It was calculation mixed with fear. Mrs. Patterson felt something settle deep in her chest. Not panic, not anger. Certainty. She had wondered if she was being unfair, if age had made her suspicious, if loneliness had sharpened harmless moments into imagined threats. Watching Richard struggle to stay upright erased all of that. Karen reached for him. "You probably stood up too fast." "I didn't stand up," he said. His words came slower now. Each one took effort. His legs began to shake, knees bouncing against the edge of the coffee table. Mrs. Patterson noticed how Corinne's voice stayed steady while her hands trembled. How she kept glancing at the teapot, then back at Richard, then back at her mother again. "Mom," Corinne said, turning suddenly, "are you feeling all right?" Mrs. Patterson met her gaze. "I feel fine." The truth of it surprised even her. Her heart beat strong. Her head felt clear, clear enough to see the entire picture forming in front of her. Richard leaned forward, elbows on his knees, breathing heavier now. "Something's wrong," he muttered. Corinne grabbed her phone. "Maybe we should call someone." "For what?" Mrs. Patterson asked gently. Corinne hesitated. "Just to be safe." Richard tried to stand and nearly collapsed. Corinne caught him just in time, her arms straining under his weight. That was when the room changed. Fear rushed in thick and heavy, not Mrs. Patterson's fear, Corinne's. Mrs. Patterson rose from her chair slowly. She did not rush. She did not raise her voice. She moved with the quiet confidence of someone who already knew the outcome. "Sit him down," she said. Corinne obeyed without thinking. Richard's eyes struggled to focus. He looked up at Mrs. Patterson like a child who had wandered too far from home. "Did you put something in that tea?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Corinne's head snapped toward him. "What are you talking about?" Mrs. Patterson watched her daughter closely now. The mask had slipped. The warmth was gone. All that remained was a tight, brittle edge. "Chamomile doesn't do this," Richard said. Corinne laughed, sharp and hollow. "You're overreacting." Mrs. Patterson walked toward the table and picked up the cup Richard had used. She held it under her nose again. The bitterness was stronger now. She set it down carefully. "Corinne," she said, her voice calm, "how long have you been planning this?" Corinne's face drained of color. "What are you saying?" she snapped. "You think I'd hurt my own husband?" Mrs. Patterson looked at Richard, then back at Corinne. "No," she said. "I think you meant it for me." The silence that followed felt endless. Corinne opened her mouth, then closed it. Her eyes darted toward the door, toward the phone, toward anything that might give her an escape. Mrs. Patterson felt no satisfaction, only sadness. A deep, aching sadness for the daughter she had raised, the trust she had given, the paper she had signed without reading twice. She stepped back and sat down again. "Call a doctor," she said. "Tell them the truth." Corinne stared at her, breathing fast. "You don't know what you're talking about." Mrs. Patterson folded her hands in her lap, steady as stone. "I know enough." Richard groaned softly, his head dropping forward. Corinne finally made the call. Her voice shook as she spoke, words tumbling over each other. Mrs. Patterson listened, every detail carving itself into memory. By the time help arrived, the truth was no longer a question. The tea had not been meant to comfort. It had been meant to confuse, to weaken. To create a story that could be told later, with concerned voices and legal signatures. As Richard was helped onto a stretcher, Corinne stood frozen in the doorway. Mrs. Patterson watched her daughter's world crack open, watched the plan unravel. And as the door closed behind them, Mrs. Patterson remained seated, already turning her thoughts toward paperwork, dates, signatures, and the quiet work that still needed to be done. The house felt different once the door closed behind the paramedics. The noise went with them, the sharp voices, the rush. What remained was a stillness that settled into the walls, heavy but clear. Mrs. Patterson stood alone in the living room for a long moment. The empty cups sat on the table like they were waiting to be noticed again. The blanket Corinne had wrapped around her shoulders earlier lay folded over the arm of the chair. Mrs. Patterson picked it up and placed it neatly on the couch. Small order first. Always small order first. She did not cry. She did not pace. Panic had never been her way. She walked into the kitchen and rinsed the teacups one by one, her hands steady under the warm water. The smell of chamomile still lingered, faint but sharp. She dried the cups and set them upside down, just as she had done for decades. Routine mattered. It reminded her who she was. When the kitchen was clean, she went down the hall to the small, spare bedroom she used as an office. It held a simple desk, an old filing cabinet, and shelves lined with binders that had followed her through 3 moves and a lifetime of work. She sat down and exhaled slowly. For years, people had told her to slow down, to rest, to let others handle things. She had listened more than she should have. She had trusted where she should have verified. That ended today. She opened the bottom drawer of the filing cabinet. Inside were folders labeled in her own handwriting. Taxes, insurance, property, legal. She pulled out the legal folder and laid it flat on the desk. Her glasses rested exactly where she had left them. She put them on and opened the folder. There it was, the power of attorney. She remembered the day she signed it. Karen had been sitting right where she was now, tapping a pen against the desk, talking fast, saying words like safety and backup and just in case. Mrs. Patterson had skimmed the pages, annoyed at the length, tired from the week. She had trusted her daughter. She read every word now. The language was clean and clear. Too clear. Authority over finances, authority over medical decisions, effective immediately. Mrs. Patterson closed her eyes for a moment, not in regret, in focus. She set the document aside and reached for her bank statements. She kept paper copies, even though Karen had once laughed and said no one did that anymore. Mrs. Patterson had smiled and kept doing it anyway. She flipped through them carefully. Small withdrawals, not enough to raise alarms. Transfers labeled as expenses. A new account she did not recognize. Her jaw tightened just slightly. She made notes on a yellow pad, dates, amounts, patterns. Numbers spoke the truth when people would not. She had built her career on that belief, and it had never failed her. Hours passed without her noticing. The light shifted outside the window. Her back ached, but her mind felt sharper than it had in years. She found the life insurance paperwork next. Beneficiaries unchanged. That was good. The deed to the house was still solely in her name. Also good. Karen had been impatient. She had wanted control fast. That impatience had left tracks. Mrs. Patterson leaned back in her chair and allowed herself one long breath. The fear she had expected never came. Instead, something steadier took its place. Resolve. She reached for her phone and scrolled until she found a number she had not called in a long time. Daniel Harris. He had been her lawyer since her husband passed. Quiet man. Careful with words. Good listener, she trusted him. The phone rang twice. Daniel Harris, he answered. Daniel, she said, it's Mrs. Patterson. There was a pause, then warmth in his voice. It's good to hear from you. I need to see you, she said. Today. He did not ask why. I can clear an hour this afternoon. Make it 2, she said gently. She hung up and placed the phone face down on the desk. Next, she opened a drawer she rarely used. Inside was a small notebook, the kind she carried when she traveled for work years ago. She flipped through it until she found a page filled with names and numbers. Tyler. Her grandson's name sat there in neat ink. She smiled without realizing it. Tyler had always been different. Quiet, thoughtful. He listened when she spoke, not because he felt obligated, but because he wanted to understand. When he visited, he fixed things without being asked. When she talked about her past, he remembered the details. She picked up the phone again and dialed his number. Grandma, he answered, surprised. Are you busy? She asked. Not really. What's wrong? Nothing, she said. Everything's just changing. There was a pause. Do you need me to come over? Yes, she said. That would be nice. When she hung up, she felt a quiet comfort settle over her. She was not alone. She had simply forgotten that for a while. Mrs. Patterson gathered the papers into neat stacks and slid them back into the folder. She locked the filing cabinet, the soft, click-sounding final. She stood and looked around the room, the desk, the shelves, the tools of a life spent paying attention. They had not failed her. She had only stepped away from them for a moment. As she turned off the light and closed the door, her thoughts moved forward, not backward, toward conversations that would need to happen, toward signatures that would need to be undone, toward a future she would define herself, line by line, just like she always had. Daniel's office smelled faintly of old books and fresh coffee. It always had. Mrs. Patterson noticed it the moment she stepped inside, the way she noticed most things. The quiet, the order, the sense that nothing rushed here unless it truly needed to. Daniel stood when he saw her. He looked older than she remembered, or maybe time had simply been fair to neither of them. "Mrs. Patterson," he said, offering his hand. "I'm glad you came in." "So am I," she replied. They sat across from each other at a wide wooden desk. Sunlight filtered through the blinds, laying clean lines across stacks of folders. Daniel waited, giving her space. He had always been good at that. She began at the beginning, not with emotion but with facts. Christmas morning. The tea, Richard's reaction, the power of attorney. She spoke slowly, carefully, as if balancing numbers out loud. Daniel listened without interrupting. When she finished, he leaned back in his chair and folded his hands. "You did the right thing by coming here quickly," he said. "I know," she replied. He nodded, a small smile touching his face. "You always did." They started with the power of attorney. Daniel pulled out a clean sheet of paper and began drafting the revocation. He explained each line before writing it, not because she needed it, but because respect mattered. "This takes effect immediately," he said. "Once signed and notarized, your daughter has no authority." Mrs. Patterson picked up the pen. Her hand did not shake. She signed her name with the same steady pressure she had used her entire adult life. Daniel slid the paper aside. "Next, we secure your accounts." She handed over her notes, dates, transfers, account numbers. Daniel raised his eyebrows slightly. "You've done half my job already," he said. She smiled. "Old habits." They called the bank together. Daniel spoke when needed, but Mrs. Patterson answered every question herself. She corrected one representative when he assumed she was confused. The silence that followed felt satisfying in a quiet way. By the time they hung up, her accounts were locked down. Alerts set. Access limited to her alone. Daniel looked at her carefully. "We should talk about your estate." "Yes," she said. "I've been thinking about that." He opened a new folder. "Who do you trust?" She did not hesitate. "My grandson," Daniel nodded. "Tyler." "Yes." She told him about the phone call. About how Tyler had arrived that evening, worried but calm. About how he listened as she explained everything, not once interrupting or questioning her clarity. "He asked what I needed," she said. "Not what he could take." Daniel smiled. "That says a lot." They worked through the details, a new will, clear instructions, no room for interpretation. Mrs. Patterson insisted on transparency, copies filed, originals secured. "Fear grows in shadows," she said quietly. "I don't want any." Daniel paused, then wrote that line down in the margin as if it mattered beyond the moment. Later that evening, Tyler met them at the office. He looked uncomfortable in the leather chair, his hands folded tightly in his lap. "Grandma," he said softly. She reached out and squeezed his hand. "I need you to understand something," she said. "This isn't about choosing sides, this is about choosing honesty." Tyler nodded. "I get that." Daniel explained the plan. Tyler listened, his eyes moving between them. When Daniel asked if he felt ready to take on the responsibility, Tyler swallowed and nodded again. "I won't let you down," he said. Mrs. Patterson believed him. Before they left, Daniel handed her a folder. "Everything we did today is documented, dates, copies, signatures." She took it and tucked it under her arm. "Thank you. Call me if anything feels off," he said. "Anything at all." She promised she would. At home that night, Mrs. Patterson slept deeply for the first time in weeks. The kind of sleep that comes when your mind knows it has done what it can for the day. The next morning, Karen called. Mrs. Patterson let it ring. The call came again an hour later, then a text, then another call. She did not respond. Instead, she brewed her own tea. Plain, simple, safe. She sat at the kitchen table with Tyler, going over a grocery list, talking about nothing important. By afternoon, the messages shifted in tone. Confusion, concern, a hint of panic. Mrs. Patterson read them all, then set the phone down. She knew what would come next. Questions, accusations, pressure wrapped in familiar words. She had prepared for that, too. The groundwork was done, clean, careful, quiet. And as the days passed, she felt something else returning. Not just control, but confidence. The kind that does not need to announce itself. The kind that waits patiently, knowing that truth has a way of pulling everything else into the light. Karen did not disappear quietly. At first, she tried softness. Gentle messages sent late at night. Questions that sounded like worry. Words like checking in and just making sure. Mrs. Patterson read them all and answered none. Silence, she had learned, was not weakness. It was space to think. When that did not work, Karen came by unannounced. Mrs. Patterson heard the knock and knew who it was before she reached the door. Tyler looked up from the table, his eyes questioning. "I'll handle it," Mrs. Patterson said. She opened the door to find her daughter standing stiffly on the porch, hands clasped tight, smiles strained. "Mom," Karen said, stepping forward, "you didn't answer my calls. I was worried." "I'm fine," Mrs. Patterson replied. Karen glanced past her, taking in the house, the neatness, the calm. "I heard about Richard," she said. "The doctors think it was food poisoning." Mrs. Patterson held the door open but did not invite her in. "I'm glad he's recovering." Karen's smile slipped. "You really should let me help you again. You seemed confused that morning." Mrs. Patterson met her gaze. "I was not confused." Karen's voice tightened. "You switched things around. You misunderstood." "No," Mrs. Patterson said evenly. "I understood perfectly." Karen exhaled sharply. "You're pushing people away." Mrs. Patterson nodded once. "From my finances, yes." Karen's face hardened. "You're making a mistake." Mrs. Patterson stepped back and closed the door, not quickly, not angrily. Just firmly. That was when Karen changed tactics. A week later, two unfamiliar cars pulled into the driveway. Tyler was at work. Mrs. Patterson stood at the window, watching two women step out, clipboards in hand. She did not panic. She set the kettle on the stove, then opened the door before they could knock. "Mrs. Patterson?" one of them asked. "Yes. We're with Adult Protective Services," the woman said gently. "We received a report expressing concern about your well-being." Mrs. Patterson nodded. "Please come in." They exchanged a brief look, surprised. The women introduced themselves and sat at the kitchen table. Mrs. Patterson poured tea, her own this time, simple and unremarkable. "We understand this may feel upsetting," one of them said. "The report mentioned memory issues and possible financial confusion." Mrs. Patterson listened without interrupting. When they finished, she reached for the folder Daniel had helped her prepare. She laid it on the table and opened it carefully. "I anticipated this," she said. She showed them the revocation of power of attorney, the bank statements, the notes she had kept, dated and organized, the new will, the letters from her lawyer. The women leaned in, reading closely. "I worked as an accountant for 40 years," Mrs. Patterson said calmly. "I do not sign documents without understanding them. I made one exception. I corrected it." One of the women looked up. "Who made the report?" "My daughter," Mrs. Patterson said, "out of concern." The woman nodded slowly. They asked her questions about her routine, her health, her support system. Mrs. Patterson answered each one clearly. She explained her medications, her appointments, her daily habits. When Tyler returned home, they asked him to join them. He sat down, nervous but steady. "She's sharp," he said simply. "Sharper than most people I know." Mrs. Patterson placed her hand over his. After an hour, the women closed their folders. "Mrs. Patterson," one of them said, "we see no signs of incapacity." The other nodded. "Your records are thorough. Your explanations are clear." They stood, thanking her for her time. At the door, one paused. "You should know," she said gently. "False reports can have consequences." Mrs. Patterson nodded. "I understand." After they left, the house felt quiet again. Tyler looked at her, his brow furrowed. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I am," she said. Karen called that evening. Mrs. Patterson answered this time. "Why would you do that to me?" Karen demanded. "To you," Mrs. Patterson replied softly. "You embarrassed me," Karen said. "They told me the report was unfounded." Mrs. Patterson closed her eyes for a moment. "You embarrassed yourself." There was a pause, then anger. "You're turning everyone against me." "I'm standing still," Mrs. Patterson said. "People are seeing you clearly." Karen's voice cracked. "I was just trying to protect you." Mrs. Patterson felt the weight of that lie settle between them. "I protected myself," she said. "You tried to take from me." She hung up before Karen could respond. That night, Mrs. Patterson sat alone in the living room. She did not feel victorious. She felt resolved. The kind of resolve that comes when you stop hoping someone will change and accept who they have shown themselves to be. The truth had stepped into the light without force or drama. It had simply been allowed to stand. And as the days moved forward, Mrs. Patterson began to feel something unfamiliar and welcome. Not relief alone, but freedom. Time has a way of settling things when it is given room. By the time Mrs. Patterson turned 71, the sharp edges of those days had softened. Not because she forgot them, but because they no longer ruled her thoughts. Life had found a steadier rhythm again. Mornings began with light through the kitchen window and the quiet comfort of routine. She still woke early, still made her own tea, still balanced her checkbook by hand, even though Tyler had shown her how to do it online. Some habits were worth keeping. She moved through her days with ease now, grocery shopping on Tuesdays, lunch with an old friend on Thursdays, a short walk every afternoon, rain or shine. The house felt like hers again, not a place she needed to defend. Karen was no longer part of her daily life. There had been no dramatic ending between them, no shouting match, just distance that grew and stayed. A few stiff holiday cards at first, then nothing. Mrs. Patterson grieved that loss quietly, the way she did most things. She missed the daughter she thought she had raised, not the woman Karen had become. And then she let it go. Tyler visited often, at first out of concern, then out of comfort. He fixed a loose step on the porch one weekend, replaced a flickering light the next. Over time, he stopped asking if she needed help and started asking what she wanted to do. They cooked together, shared stories, laughed over old photos spread across the dining table. He never treated her like she was fading. That mattered more than he knew. Tyler grew into the responsibility she had placed in him, not with pride or entitlement, but with care. He learned where documents were kept, how bills were paid, who to call if something felt off. Mrs. Patterson watched him absorb it all, not as a burden, but as a shared trust. One afternoon, as they sat on the porch watching the neighborhood settle into evening, Tyler looked over at her. "You know," he said, "most people would have fallen apart." She smiled. "Most people don't spend their lives paying attention." He nodded, understanding. Her lawyer still checked in from time to time. Quick calls, short meetings. Everything remained exactly where she had placed it. Clean, clear, safe. Mrs. Patterson found peace in that order, though peace was not the absence of struggle. It was the quiet knowledge that she had faced something hard and stood her ground without losing herself. She did not seek revenge. She sought truth, and truth had given her back her life. On her 71st birthday, Tyler hosted a small dinner at the house. Nothing fancy, just her favorite food and people who cared. Candles flickered. Laughter filled the room. Mrs. Patterson watched it all with a gentle pride she did not try to hide. When it came time to blow out the candles, Tyler leaned close and whispered, "Make a wish!" She closed her eyes, not to wish for more years, but to honor the ones she had already claimed. Later that night, after the guests left and the dishes were done, she sat alone in the living room. The same chair, the same lamp, everything familiar, everything earned. She thought about that Christmas morning. The tea. The moment she trusted herself over politeness. The quiet strength it took to choose clarity when fear would have been easier. Age had not weakened her. It had refined her. She reached for a photo on the side table, a picture of her husband gone too soon. She imagined him smiling, proud of her still. "I handled it," she said softly. The house held her words without judgment. Mrs. Patterson lived the rest of her days on her own terms, not untouched by pain, but no longer shaped by it. She became proof that wisdom does not fade with time. It sharpens, it steadies, it waits patiently for the moment it is needed most. And sometimes the strongest stand a person can take is the quiet one. If this story moved you, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more stories about strength, family, and the courage that comes with knowing yourself.